Just about sailing November 2020. Yes, I know it's not been long since the last one, but I thought I'd put a quick one out. This one hasn't quite gone to plan in as much as what I wanted to do is to get the dinghy, and spoiler alert, you can see wheels on it, get it sorted out, check for any leaks, of which there were some, get the wheels put on and check out to see if the engine was going. And then what I wanted to do was to actually, for me and Lucy, to take it out and go up down the local river, which is the River Stour, and actually get some time on the water. But of course, as from tomorrow, which is Thursday the who knows, we're all locked down again. So what I thought I'd do is save that, and when we're out of lockdown, me and Lucy will go out for an adventure. Apparently you're still allowed to fly your aeroplanes. I thought it was a hurricane, but it's not, because we are quite close to where the Battle of Britain took place, so we do sometimes get some nice things. But anyway, this hasn't seen the light of day for a very long time. It is absolutely filthy, as I think you can see. 2.6 metres, it's about the biggest I felt that I could get onto Serenity. It's not big, but it is heavy, and one of the problems I've had is kind of dragging it up the beach, particularly around the Bristol Channel area, where you have to drag it a long way away from the water, otherwise you have to swim back to your dinghy. So I've got something which I'm hoping is going to help. I'm also going to give this a really good jet wash and clean down as well. This is what I'm going to fit on. I haven't done any of the fitting on it yet. It's basically a bracket that goes on there with a wheel on it, and then it's got a sort of a spring mechanism that you can pull it up, fold it over, and then it kind of stores like that, if that makes sense. And literally all I need to do is clean this up a bit, drill a couple of holes, fit it, and then I'll show you. That'll probably be clearer. Right, so this is just the first fitting. I've made sure everything's level by putting a level gauge on it and checking everything's upright. This is basically plywood, quite thick, so I'm going to put a good coating of epoxy. I've drilled the hole slightly too big. I'm going to put a good coating of epoxy to waterproof it. But you can see how this works. This is folded up for when you're motoring along, and this sit down for when you're wheeling it, but more of that once I've done it. This is a Sue prod, and it comes with great instructions because it's literally just photographs, and as soon as I finish installing it, I'll probably have a look at these. Very easy to install, literally 2 holes, a bit of epoxy to make the wood a bit more waterproof. It comes with rubber gaskets, but I put some CT1 sealer on anyway. I got the ones with the springs. You can get them with little sort of circlippy fit type things. So all you do to deploy it, and you can do this from inside the boat just before you get to the beach, pull this up and down, twist this wheel round, and then it springs up. Yeah. And then you just wheel it along, and these are really solid. This is solid, proper marine grade stainless steel. So as I say, the only difference I've got is I've got the one with the springs. Right, so on the not so good front, you might notice that this pontoon is a little bit sagging. So Houston, we have a leak. And it's only this one that's gone down, so I need to find out where that is and fix it. So I've pumped it back up, and now it's really just a process of spraying everywhere with soapy water. And seeing if anything starts to bubble. Right. Quite literally, could that be any more awkward? So ironically, that's the leak. There seems to be a bit of scratch, the scratch there, the hole there, a bit of scratch there. This is possibly from dragging it along a beach over the stones. And I do remember when I stopped several years ago when I first brought the boat around here, I stopped off in Oxwich Bay and had a real struggle pulling the boat up far enough. So those wheels might have presented that. Right, annoyingly, I've noticed that this other pontoon, this has been blown up for a few days now, has started to go down a little bit. It's only a tiny bit. I've deliberately let the other side down, so I've now got the kit to fix it. But I might as well see if there is a hole there, if I can actually find one. Right, totally different area on this. This is where the joint, got this sort of conical bit, meets. Just there, can you see the stream of bubbles going out? So I would say this is probably a manufacturing fault that's been in there since day one. Right, so I've got the two-part adhesive, which needs to be done in a temperature between 18 and 25 degrees C. I'm at 21.5, and a relative humidity lower than 60. It's a pain, and I've got to have the place well aerated. So doing this in the winter is not good. I've cut a patch. That's where the actual hole is. It's very uncomfortably close to this edge, but I didn't really want to do a patch that went over this edge. So for better or worse, I'm going to do a long patch there, simply because there's a few scuffs along there, and I think those are weak points, so I might as well get that sorted out now. You can use acetone, but I'm going to clean this with MEK, which I think is the proper stuff, and then glue it. And regular listeners, readers, watchers will know that I hate contact adhesive, because you've got to get, if you get it slightly wrong and it's stuck, and I do tend to get things slightly wrong. One of the most difficult things seems to be actually getting this flat and deflated. Now I've seen some YouTube videos where it's sort of partially deflated and so on, but actually even that's not quite. And I'm going to put the cloth. The chances of these two that I poured out being the right ratio are about 1,000,000 to 1. They're actually supposed to be 20 to 1. So I've got much more than I actually need. So this to apply thinly. I've left that 20 minutes, which was the amount of time it took to have a pot of yoghurt and a cup of tea. The glue in the pot looks absolutely fine as it was before, so I'm going to use this. There's nothing that says, I haven't seen any technical data sheets that says this has got a shelf life on it. So, I'm going to give this another coating. And this then gets left. For 2 minutes. And this is why I don't like contact adhesive. Because you have to get it right. And I tend not to get it right. And you can probably see I've gone too far in that direction. Ooh, lucky, very lucky. It's okay. Just. Oh. Let's go at this. Oh yeah, it takes it off nicely. Ish. A flat bit of wood about the right size. And 4 kilograms of weight on there, and I'm going to leave that for 24 hours and see if it works. And if it works, I shall be surprised, and let's be honest, if it works, you will be surprised as well. 24 hours later. Okay, blow it up and spray some soapy water at it. Remember, that's about where the hole was, so if it were to bubble, that's where I would expect it to come out of. I'm still going to leave it for a while, fully pumped up, and see if it does go down over the next 24 hours, and then I will do exactly the same with the patch on the other side, which is a bit more awkward because there are a couple of seams. By the way, before I forget, when I was preparing this, I didn't sand it down or rub it down. That's because this is PVC, not Hypalon. It's a completely different chemical process in terms of bonding the two materials, and you don't sand PVC, you do sand Hypalon, and you have to use the relevant glue and stuff for each one, and it's very different chemical processes that I'm certainly not going to try and explain, mostly because I can't. Anyway, so far so good. Right, so this is the other one. I'm not so confident with this one because it's got all of these seams where there could potentially be gaps. It was kind of coming out from under these seams, I think. Right, I think it's float worthy. I will leave this up just to see if the pontoon goes down, but I think that looks alright to me. People are bound to ask, so this is what I used from Rib Store, which you can Google them and find them in the UK. MEK for cleaning, and 2 parts PVC adhesive. And by the way, everything that I did and I showed on the boat, I also did that on the patch, but that was off camera and I didn't move the camera for that. I think that was fairly obvious. So there you are, that's what I used, and so far it seems to have worked very well. So there we go, what I did, just to be sure, I've left this pumped up for just over a week now, and I haven't had any loss of pressure at all in any of the pontoons or the front bit, which wasn't leaking anyway, so very happy with that. I think that 2-part adhesive stuff probably is better, but obviously the pain is you have to do it exactly the right temperature. So I shall still carry the other stuff for emergency repairs, but yeah, that worked out extremely well. Very happy with that. Is it going to run? Is it going to start? Is water going to come out where it should do? It's probably going to be a bit smoky. I've topped it up with a tiny bit of oil, but it didn't need very much. And I normally forget to put this in. I've opened that, I've switched the fuel on, I've pulled the choke out. I am expecting it to start, simply because of the success of my... Oh, helps if you put the right end in. I think water's going to come through. Right, so I'm confident to take that out short distances with a set of oars, but that might well have to wait. Good. Happy with that. I just realised that I haven't actually videoed it being wheeled anywhere. So I've tipped the outboard up. It's just ever so slightly, about half a centimetre longer than the wheels, but the skeg hits rather than the rudder, so that's not too bad. I wasn't expecting to be able to wheel it with the engine in proper place. But anyway, let's just see how easy that is. I haven't tried this yet with the engine actually, but all the weight is at the back of the wheel, so I'm assuming it's going to be easy. That is really easy and nicely balanced. It came out of this bag, which is quite big. It's not the original bag, but unfortunately it has suffered under the sun. There is an original bag with it, which was even weaker than this, but I'm hoping if I can get it back in this and then use this as a sort of a size guide. So of course this is a lot easier on a flat piece of ground than it is when you're actually on the boat. And what I found is that, yeah, theoretically I could get this into that bag when I was doing it on the dock side, but actually doing it on the boat was another kettle of fish altogether, so I might have to have a go at that at some point. Right, that's my energy quotient gone for the day. Certainly, I mean, it fits, it's very tight. I'm thinking that probably a different design of bag, one that kind of wraps around it rather than you have to stuff it into it, I don't know. Yeah, great, that's all sorted. I did give it a jet wash, by the way. And I've got some proper cleaning stuff and some UV protection stuff, but I thought I'm not going to do that because it's the wrong time of year. I'm going to give it another jet wash, and then probably in the spring or just before the boat goes back in the water, get it all spruced up because this ground is very muddy and so on. And besides, I do want to take it out, so hopefully in December sometime we'll actually get a trip out on it. So that's it for this episode. Don't know if the next one's coming out in November or in December. I have done a lot of other things for the windlass, so I am pretty sure that the next one will be the concluding part of the of doing the windlass. So look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'm off for a cup of tea. See you next time.